She built a sanctuary for animals, then found one of her own. This brick carriage house in Hudson, New York, built in the 1830s, shows off its early Italianate charm, arched windows, a Tuscan columned portico, and a carved recessed doorway with large glass panes. Once the quiet workhorse behind the Folger family estate, it now is surrounded by a koi pond, a gentle waterfall, and gardens planted with care. After the Kincade Wildfires in Northern California, Sarah Shaw lost nearly everything, except the animals she saved and the sanctuary she built, Sindisa. Nearby, she founded Hudson Paws Rescue, offering animals a second chance. And here at Cavell Cottage, she began her own, restoring this once forgotten carriage house, step by step. Let's go inside and meet Sarah.
Hi, welcome to Cavell Cottage.
So welcome everybody. It's Sarah. Thank you so much for letting us into your beautiful cottage. I'm Alicia with Historic Home Redux, and this is my favorite thing to do in life, and this is one of my favorite properties with one of my favorite people. How did you feel, or what struck you when you first walked in or saw Cavell Cottage?
Well, coming into the property, you walk through this long garden, which is very unusual because it's very set back out off of Warren Street, which usually the homes are right on the sidewalks. So it was kind of mysterious at first, and then when I saw this front porch and these doors, I thought, okay, this is something special. This is really a beautiful home, and it had all the bones, for being a beautiful place. It just needed a little TLC. But as soon as I saw it, I couldn't believe that it hadn't been snatched up off the market, because it was just a hidden gem, really.
Yeah.
Back of this, very charming garden, which wasn't as charming back then, but it was. You could still see, that it would be its potential.
Yeah.
You could see the potential.
But also, all the beautiful detail of Italianate Victorians, this recessed doorway, the beautiful paned glass, the detail from the brasswork. And
yeah, I loved the beveled glass in these huge doors, and the old hardware that's original from 1860. And they're, I don't know how tall, maybe 15,
those are, yeah,
about 15 feet high.
very tall.
And the double door is really awesome, because in the summer I leave both of them open, and
Let
it's
the
like
air.
indoor outdoor with the front porch.
So should we walk in and see a little bit more of the
Yeah.
front hall? And since it's sort of the entryway into everyone's home and sort of tells you a little bit right up front about who you're visiting with. So let's go and see that. Okay, now that we're in the front hall, Sarah, can you just give everyone a little background on Cavell Cottage?
Sure. So the cottage was originally built as a carriage house in 1830 for the main house, which is up on the hill, and it's called the Cavell House now. And that's why I called this the Cavell Cottage when I redecorated it, because I thought it was kind of a cute little name. Anyhow, in 1860, Folger family, who owned it back then, they renovated the carriage house here into a proper four-bedroom home, with one bath up and a half bath down here. And they put in all this amazing work, the beadboarding, the coffered ceilings, all the trim, the handcrafted banister. I don't know. I grew up in an old house in San Francisco, so it really spoke to me when I first walked in here, and it just felt like home.
So what about some of the artwork here, Sarah?
Well, most of the artwork that's down here was family art. My mother has a beautiful art collection, and she gave me these two Guy Buffet pieces. He was a very well-known kind of Cubist artist in San Francisco. And then the other wheel is a friend of my grandfather's, Irma Engel, and she actually helped teach my grandfather how to paint.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so, yeah, there's a neat story behind their friendship. And I have some of my grandfather's pieces upstairs.
Oh, so we'll look forward to seeing those. That's a nice
Yeah.
connection to home. Is there
Yeah.
anything in this house or this front hall in particular that sort of makes you think of the house you grew up in, since it too was
Oh,
a
yeah.
Victorian, right?
Big time. This right here. This,
Yeah, I love those.
this
Yeah.
brass plate has all the fixtures in the house they grew up in were these push button things. And you see they even have the original abalone inlay.
That's fantastic.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
And
wonderful.
so of course, yeah, I love these. There aren't that many of them in the house, but this one is still here. So that reminds me of the Victorian I grew up in San Francisco.
And what about this beautiful balustrade and
yeah,
the newel post? And
We didn't have stairs in my childhood home, but I obviously appreciated the beauty of this thing. I mean, it's just really elegant and
the gorgeous curve of the stairs.
yeah. I love how when you walk in the front door and you just see this great stairway with this crazy rug.
Well, you can see
Patchwork
somebody
rug.
walking down in their finery.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That great
Yeah.
dress and flowing down it, especially with that gorgeous rug that you have. And I think
Yeah.
people would love to hear about that particular
And the dogs
item.
like to hang out on
Yeah.
the stairs too.
Mama does a good job lying there, showcasing.
Yeah, I found a photo when I was perusing on Pinterest of this fabulous patchwork Turkish rug that was pieced together with a bunch of different kilns in different colors. And I just made it my mission to find one, and I researched it, and I found this. It's 30 feet long and the perfect width, and I found it in Istanbul. And it's just my favorite thing, really, about the decor here. It's, one of a kind, and I've never seen it in another home, only in photos on Pinterest, really.
I've never seen one myself.
Yeah.
It's
I'm gonna start a
absolutely
trend.
beautiful. Yes, trendsetter. And your dress looks fabulous. It complements the rug. I know you
I'm
planned
color
that.
coordinated. I'm not
the
supposed
decor.
to wear pattern, though, on film.
Before we head into the living room, I hope you'll stay tuned. We'll be talking at the end about what brought Sarah here after the Kincade Wildfires, her continued phenomenal works at Sindisa Sanctuary, her founding of Hudson Paws Rescue, and the interesting connection between Sarah's work, a previous owner, and the healing that happens on this property. Shall we head into the living room, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go.
Here's the living room. I didn't know what to do with this room at first because it is so big and it has this huge solid wall. I wish there was a big window here, but there's a house on the other side, so we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I found this amazing piece, actually done by a Bay Area artist in the 70s. And it kind of is reminiscent of kind of Marin County 70s to me.
What is Marin County 70s?
Oh,
For those of
like
us
macrame.
that don't know. Oh,
I don't know,
hippy dippy?
a little, but
Yeah.
but I don't find this piece hippy dippy. I just
No.
it's funky and I love it and it's crazy. It takes it kind of breaks up this room, so that worked well. I've been trying to learn how to play the piano, so that has been fun.
Goals.
Good for the synapses
Yeah.
as we get older.
And what about these beautiful architectural details with your coffered ceilings?
Yeah, they were added, I think, maybe even after the 1860s. It's hard to tell, but obviously the beadboarding was in first, and then I don't know exactly when they were added, but I love them. They're beautiful.
And this beautiful window here in front, and you had to do some work on that,
Well,
right?
every window in this house had to be replaced. They were all single pane aluminum windows. And so that was the biggest part of the project. But I got a great deal from Anderson because I made all of them standard sizes.
And we're not doing and getting anything from Anderson. This is her
No.
giving a true testimonial.
It's true.
Sarah.
Don't do custom sizes. Get if at all possible, standard size. It saves you like half, cuts off half the price.
Wow,
Anyhow,
that's great.
it's true.
So, speaking of work that needed to be done in your
Yeah.
home, let's talk about this room
Yeah.
and talk about the things that you actually, what you
Yeah.
walked into in this
Well,
space.
yeah, okay. When I first came in the house, when it was on the market, this was wall-to-wall carpet, and there was linoleum and in the entryway and a painted wood floor in the dining room. So I started just by tearing everything up, and it happened to luckily have the original floor under it. So that was a lucky break. And then I just sanded it and stained it. But the walls, like the walls were all lath and plaster, and I kind of wanted to expose the original brick on a couple of the walls just because I like the texture of it. So I took off the mantle off the fireplace, and then I exposed the brick, and then put back the mantle, and here it is. That's the original mantle.
That's beautiful.
And this is Mary Brenneman, who's a Hudson Valley artist. She's my favorite artist here in Hudson Valley. That is the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great piece.
And you have artwork throughout the house of hers, correct?
No, I have one piece in Brooklyn at the condo.
Okay.
It's a central piece like this, and then one piece that's central here.
Okay.
And that piece I love. I got that on Warren Street. I love all the texture in this. See the burlap? And you can tell she used different knives. And so that's one of my favorite pieces from here. I got the piano on like Craigslist.
Wow.
It's actually a really, really nice piano. I didn't know anything about pianos, but Mason and Hamlin is like second to Steinway apparently.
Oh,
And
wow.
I get it tuned like twice a year. It's got great sound.
Well, I think what's nice, this being a carriage house in its first iteration, was high ceilings.
Yeah.
Right? And open, I know you don't know where the original openings were, right? Because
Yeah,
again,
I
it's
think
been
this
changed.
must have been like,
Maybe it was wider than that
you
even,
can
right?
kind of see how wide it was? The support beam.
Yeah.
At the top.
Is showing.
I think this was probably the entrance. But anyhow, it's kind of fun to. I wish I wish I could just go back in time for a day and take a ton
see.
of pictures.
And because there really isn't, the documentation of each iteration.
Yeah, and it was just a carriage house, and no one was really photographing it.
Yeah, it was utilitarian, and then it became something so much more. So shall we move into your wonderful dining room, which is my favorite.
Love this new wallpaper.
There's a lot going on in here. So I think, Sarah, this is where Sarah's style really comes into play. Can you talk about your inspiration for this room, what the room was like before, work you have done, and how we got to this place, and maybe even ripping down some wallpaper.
Yeah, it was just solid yellow when I, first bought it, and with white, and I think this was yellow. This was yellow. I think she liked the color yellow, but I wanted to do something fun with the panels, and then, accent the trim with the high gloss white. And I just think it's fun. It pops, and it's all my favorite colors.
Yeah.
Green and orange. I love all the detail in here. The little chameleons who are catching the flies.
Yeah.
And then the hummingbirds.
And the maker, Sarah, of this beautiful
Cole
wallpaper?
and Sons out of London.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
don't
Beautiful.
order too much because you can't return any overage.
But
I
you
learned
did,
the hard way.
but you did do something quite creative with
What?
some of the extra wallpaper. You should
Oh
talk
yeah,
about that
I
piece.
did. I got this great 1800 Scottish. I call it a hutch, and like a china hutch, but it's kind of gonna be a bar, slash, area you can serve on. But I didn't really like this. They had this white fabric behind, which I don't know. I just didn't really. I wasn't too fond of it, and so I covered it up with my favorite paper, and now I love it.
Well,
Isn't
it
it
just
fun?
adds,
It's
just
just
flows. It's like
so fun.
and there, because I happen to love this piece too. There's this
Well, Alicia
detail.
helped me find this piece, so you got to
Yeah.
give her some credit here.
Oh, well.
She said I have to get this,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad she did.
But this particular
Yeah.
element here is
Isn't that
just
great.
so fabulous. And
It works so well with this vine in the paper and and then my light fixture has vines in it too.
tell them a little bit
Which,
about that.
well, it was a wrought iron piece, and then when I put up the paper, it felt too heavy and dark, so I painted it like this beautiful sage green and white, and I think now it's really feminine and whimsical.
It totally is perfect with the aesthetic and the wallpaper and your
Yeah.
beautiful Scottish piece and this wonderful table. And where did you find your table, Sarah?
Well, I was lucky because right after I closed on the house, I had no furniture at all. I bought a bed, and so I was driving down Union Street, I think it was, and this bed and breakfast was going out of business, and he had just put the sign out, like furniture sale or estate sale or whatever it was, because they were closing, and they had all this stuff that was like unbelievably well priced, and all kind of really beautiful antiques. And if they weren't antiques, they were at least solid, well-made wood furniture.
Right.
So I just got so lucky. I went in there and I'm like, okay, I'll take the bed. Upstairs is $500, and we're talking beautiful, wood pieces. And so this table came from there, and it's kind of beat up, but I love it. I love the little lotus flowers in the corners, little carve, and it pulls out in order to seat 8 instead of 6.
It's beautiful. And what
Isn't
about
it cool?
Yeah, and I
then
love the
these
legs.
are Old English.
Yeah, and these chairs, Sarah. What about your chairs?
Yeah, these came from the Antique Mart.
The Antique Mart here
Yeah,
in
the
Hudson.
Rush. Yeah, here in Hudson. It's called the Antique Warehouse, and I like the Rush seats, and they're called ladder back
Ladderback chairs.
chairs.
Yeah. And I think, again, the juxtaposition of the wildly beautiful and bright wallpaper that makes us feel like we're outside having a great time.
It's
And
just
then
transformed this whole room.
it does,
So
but
much fun.
it's a nice, the darker wood that
Yeah.
that ties it together in such a beautiful historic way for this space.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, I like the way it turned out.
It's absolutely
I had been
gorgeous.
wanting to do this, as you know, for
Yes.
about a year, and Alicia finally got fed up with hearing about this paper because it was so expensive. I didn't want to buy it for a while, and then finally she said, I'll believe it when I see it. If you ever get it, I'll believe it when I see it. And ta-da!
Ta-da!
And I put it up myself.
And something, if any of you that have been watching some of my content will know, I can never put up wallpaper because I just wouldn't.
You have to be, kind of patient.
You have to know
I'm
the
not normally a
exacting.
very patient person, but with wallpaper, I'm okay. But yeah, it wasn't hard. I actually had another wallpaper up beforehand, which were like sea fans, but they were very tonal. I wanted a lot of color in here, so I just soaked the paper with a wet rag, and then pulled it off. It just comes off in sheets. You don't have to steam it. and then let it dry, and then you paste the wall and put up the new paper.
It's
really
incredible.
simple.
She's very industrious, our Sarah. Now, those beautiful chairs in the corner, I'm sure people want to know about those because talk about like a perfect scenario for this space, right? Tell them a little bit about these.
Well, they're the first things I bought when I had no furniture. I just had the bed, and I had torn up everything down here, the flooring, and I wanted something to sit on by the fireplace. And I just thought they were really beautiful. They were like these old McGuire, kind of distressed wood chairs with silk seats, kind of chinois. And so I just had them by the fire, and I would sit on these chairs and stay warm. It was, I bought it in October. They took the windows out in January, and so it was plastic sheeting on all of the windows, and the boiler broke.
Yeah.
So it was literally the middle of winter, and I had to wait about a week to get this new heating system that's gas rather than oil. So I sat by the fire a lot.
Well, this is for those of us who live through renovation, historic home renovation.
Yeah.
We get pretty creative. It gives connection to the home, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I feel like we went through war together. Yeah. Oh, I love the pantry.
Okay.
This kind of reminded me also of Victorian at home. We had sort of a similar pantry.
Yeah.
And the original glass. And this was like had a dropped ceiling, as did a lot of kitchens from that were done in like the 70s, and plaster walls. And so I took out the drop ceiling and just put some little recessed lights in.
It's okay.
I like these pendant lights because they're kind of industrial. Like this whole kitchen was, I had a really low budget, and just these cupboards down here, were a lot just to do the bottom cupboards. So when I got to like pricing out top cupboards, I said to hell with it. I'm just gonna do 2x6 boards and stain them espresso to match this counter. And then I used these gas pipes with the caps on them to support
cool.
these. I saw this on Pinterest. And I just went to the hardware store and got these pieces and put it together, and it turned out great. It's a little industrial, but I like it.
No, it looks fabulous in here. And of course, your
These I
China thing
made
looks great.
in Umbria with this past year with my daughter. We were over there doing a cooking tour, and I got little S's put on this great pattern.
Sarah Shaw. Grabbing pieces that mean something to you in your travels, right?
Yeah, the butterfly collection came from a friend of mine who gave it to me in San Francisco when I originally did a condo in Pacific Heights that we lived in, and he helped me do the closets, and so that was his gift,
Aw.
thank you gift for help for me hiring him.
And so this
and this, yeah, it's really.
this was basically you had different floors and things like
Oh,
that,
yeah,
right,
it
in
was
here?
a checkerboard linoleum floor. And I mean, the sink was here, and the stove was, and the fridge was here, I think. Everything. There was a wall here, a half, like a wall and then, so the wall came out here, and then, there was like a door. So I just took this little wall out and I moved the radiator over there and built this little breakfast bar, and I like having a sink by a window too, so when you're doing dishes, you can look out. It's like,
Nice.
and then, of course, that is the obvious place for the stove, I think. And I like the slate floor. I think the slate works well with the wood. and the brushed silver. And then that's that's the door to the basement.
Okay, Sarah, what are these fun things?
Aren't these awesome?
They are very cool.
So these are little herb containers, and they stick to your. They stick. And
So you
can
just grab them and
you
plop
make
them back.
patterns, and yeah, you use them and put them back on your thing, and you know they're the little.
Where'd you find those?
Well, I got the idea from Jerry. You know, she had these on our friend here in Warren, and so I looked them. I figured out where to get them.
They're great. They're fun.
Aren't they great?
And you know what? Then you have less shelf space taken up.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in here that you want to share?
I think it's nice though to point out that this wasn't visible before. This arch.
Oh, right.
And I love these old.
Yeah, the brick
Like-
arch details that
Yeah,
they had
it's-
when
I
they were.
guess
Yeah.
it was part of the original carriage house. Like they had these arched windows with
Yeah.
the brick.
And you have them
So-
outside. You can see them outside.
Yeah.
And even down towards the basement. you
Yeah,
can
we
see
have
some
some
of
in
the
the
tops.
basement, and then these windows are great. I really like the windows because they actually they louver out. And I like a lot of fresh
And
air.
it's nice that they're recessed because then you can use them for
Yeah.
showing your beautiful things. Okay, so we head upstairs, I guess, right?
Yeah. This is the stairway that keeps me in shape. Up and down, up and down. Anyhow, these windows are neat because they're the only original windows left. They're these divided light. Clean them up and see how they used to have these
The pulls.
pulleys? Yeah, my house I grew up and had windows all like this,
Great.
and they all always broke. So none of the windows, just like here, I have to prop it up because the pulleys don't work.
Oops.
But
That's
I'll
okay.
never replace it because it's beautiful.
They're beautiful, the detail.
Then there's only two, that one and then the bathroom.
Shall we go into, well, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about the
Well,
landing here.
this is very, I think, unusual for a landing. It's a broad landing, and I like how spacious it is. I think it's, you know, it's a generous space, and it's welcoming, and the banister is a beautiful highlight up here.
And also, it's a different period. The balustrade is a different
Yeah, it's sort
period.
of like arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah,
So I don't know if this was later after 1860.
you see the difference in the banister.
Yeah. And here's some old, more paintings that I brought from the family collection. This is Kauai in Hawaii.
And you have a family connection to that, right, Sarah?
Yeah, to the Hawaiian Islands.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
on my mom's side. And then this is another Irma Engel. I told
Oh.
you she helped my grandfather learn how to paint.
Okay, Sarah, where to?
Okay, so off this landing are 4 bedrooms, but I made one of them in an office. This is the little guest room that is kind of the most colorful bedroom here. I love these old antique like posters. Anyhow, this thing is really old. It is distressed wrought iron bed frame from the antique warehouse. My bedroom's through here, so I really use that room as more of like extra like dressing room, closet space and stuff, and a spillover if there's extra guests. But and then I like this room as a master because of the light, and I look at the garden that way.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the design here and your furnishings in this room.
This is one of the pieces I told you about, that B&B that I happened on that day. This bed was $500. It's
It's
beautiful, carved
beautiful.
oak bed. I love it with the scallops on it and the seashells. Yeah. I just got really lucky. I could never afford to buy this, at most,
Or find it. It wouldn't be easy.
showrooms.
Yeah, but it would.
I wouldn't, yeah, I've never seen really anything like it anyhow. This, I can't remember. I think it was from Coxsackie Antique Mart.
And what about this?
That I got
Harkening
it.
to your koi pond here, Sarah.
Yeah. Koi. This was from Brimfield.
Wow.
Yeah. I liked it. It's got the old stamp on it. It's just a beautiful
Beautiful.
watercolor of a bunch of koi. It's very peaceful, calming.
Yeah. It's
Where
very
you
nice.
sleep. And this rug, I love this rug. I have this great carpet guy named Nabi, and he just has great deals. And this is the Persian rug, and I love the colors, and it fits. It's happened to be the right size for this landing.
And the doggies definitely add
they like
wonderful dimension to
Yeah,
it.
they love the rug. But this landing being so broad, you usually have a 5x7 rug, and it was kind of too narrow. So this is a very unusual size, and I happened to find it with Nabi, and I love the color palette. And these, I don't know where I got these. I love these little
They're very sweet.
votive sconces. Aren't they fun?
They're so pretty.
And this, I did feather paper, but I couldn't figure out how to go around the corners, so I kind of stopped halfway.
You would be the only person that would notice
I
that.
know, I don't know one ever really notices.
About
But-
the beautiful flowers from your garden.
Yeah, those are the peonies from out front. And-
So, in what state was this when you moved in, or was it okay?
Well, I mean, the sink was there and the tub was here, but it was not. I can't really remember. It wasn't anything nice. I had to, pull it out and put a new. I did like oversized subway towels. And this is a Les Indienne.
That's beautiful.
I like their stuff. And yeah, I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but I like the way it turned out.
And you have another one of these beautiful windows.
This I love, because how the ivy actually grows in the summer over it, and isn't that pretty?
So pretty. At first, when I saw them from outside, I thought they were leaded glass, but in fact, this is actually wood, unless they
Yeah, that's wood.
covered it later. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
that's
to.
wood.
I had to hand sand this to get all the cook off, and I did the best I could. But I love the way the light comes through the ivy into this.
The Victorians were really great about using these kinds of things because of the reflective light that comes out of them, because a lot of Victorian homes are darker. And do you know who
Okay.
made this wallpaper?
No,
It's really
I love
fun.
it.
It's
It's
whimsical.
it is, and it's like watercolor.
Yeah, it's really
They're like watercolor.
Okay, Sarah, what room are we entering now?
This is where the magic happens.
Ooh,
This is the office.
wow.
Yeah. This is my big desk I got down at the Antique Mart. I love this thing. It's got this piece of aluminum or something strike through, which I thought was really cool. But anyhow, this is where I get my work done. These are all, I guess, I don't know what years these were done, but these are China plate designs. And so they did watercolors of what they were planning to do on the plates, before they did the actual plateware. So it's really kind of cool. Signs for an optometrist's office or something,
They're really, really cool.
They cool together.
One looks like it was for, like a watch, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
I
loop
know.
on it for a pendant, or
Yeah,
they're very cool.
I don't, yeah. you know, we've debated like what exactly they I don't know if they weren't meant to be together, but I put them together. One's green, one's brown.
I love it.
And then my grandfather did this amazing piece in Haleakala crater in Maui. This is like if you know anything, it's a dead volcano, and inside the crater there's cinder cones. These are cinder cones, and there are all these reds and oranges, amazing, beautiful sands.
Oh my
so
gosh.
red sand, orange sand, and we used to hike in there when we were kids with my mom and granddad and my brothers.
Okay, nice.
So yeah.
Well, what a great place to work. I mean, goodness
I know.
me. Right? This is where it all happens, everybody.
And-
This
and
is
the-
where all that good work gets done.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I guess we should head on out back downstairs and
Okay.
go outside.
Perfect.
So let's head out to the garden, Sarah, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we're excited
Beautiful.
to get the explanation.
Finally have some sunshine out
I
here.
know.
So this wasn't here. I put this koi pond in because I love having a water feature around the sound soothing, and it's been really nice.
What was it like before when you walked in?
It was just all basically shrubs, and you know, they had a big swing set in the front covered in vines, so there wasn't much here. Just a couple frogs. Yeah, I put all this in. Hi, froggies. And the fish are very happy here. And I put in the walkway so that, you know, before it was kind of a little bit, like just a lot of broken up stones and stuff that were a little treacherous, actually. So we put in this nice little path.
And did you do all of the plantings here on the pathway?
Yes, everything you see here was planted except for this crabapple tree and that one and this tree here. So all of this had to be planted. That's the peach tree. There's a couple pear trees over here. There are a lot of roses.
Do these pear trees have some fruit?
Yeah. And the birds like to get them though before I have a chance to pick them usually.
Oh.
My daughter made that beautiful willow little basket structure to grow clematis in. She helped me a little bit with the garden.
Beautiful. This is
I
gorgeous.
know. I love that.
Do you spend a lot of time out here in the garden, Sarah?
Oh yeah. In the summer, it's kind of like, you know, my extension of the house. It's like a, you know, my outdoor living space. Great.
Yeah, it's amazing. As you said before, here in Hudson, I can't think of another property that has this sort of sweet little fairy tale cottage thing happening. It's just an oasis, and I love coming here every chance that I get.
Yeah, it's like the dogs love it, and I entertain on the front porch a lot. We drink a lot of wine and eat a lot of cheese. And this actually, it had no fence around it before, so it was sort of, it's now sort of feeling a lot more private and enclosed.
It's just magical, and giving people a chance to really walk with you through it.
Oh, it kind of speaks for itself. The birds like it. The fish like it. The dogs like it. We like it.
So shall we head to our little sit down?
Sure.
Here we are at the end of our lovely tour at Cavell Cottage with Sarah, and as promised, we're going to talk to Sarah a little bit about what brought her here after the Kincade fires and all the good work she's been doing at Sindisa and Hudson Paws Rescue, and the fun little intersection of her good works and one of the previous owners here.
Yeah, so my daughter went to school up here. She went to Bard College, so I was familiar with Hudson Valley, and I really loved it. But I, you know, was running a rescue ranch, Sindisa Sanctuary, out in California. which unfortunately went through the Kincade fire in 2019, and we evacuated the animals, but everything else got burned down. So I sort of wasn't sure where to land after that, and I rented for a while in California because we wanted to make sure that the ranch, the animals were okay, and rebuilt fences and water lines and everything we needed to do to make that to keep them safe after the fire. And then I sort of didn't really want to live there because of the bad memories of the fire. And every year now, we really have recurring fire season, so it's a little triggering. So my daughter, who settled up here after college, said I should come look at Hudson because it's such a great city. And so I came to visit in July. I think it was in July of 21, and this beautiful carriage house happened to be on the market, and it was right at the end of COVID, and the interest rates were nice and low back then, and I only have the one daughter, so it was nice to be near her, and I kind of started over. I still am running my rescue ranch in California because I have people who take care of my animals back there, and I go back and forth, but this has been a really nice place to sort of start over after losing everything in that fire. Yeah, it's very peaceful here, and I feel like it's just a very sort of tranquil, healing kind of environment in Hudson Valley. It's really wonderful. It actually is very much like Sonoma Valley and Napa Valley, which are back in California where I grew up. So it kind of reminds me of that too.
Well, I also think it's kind of interesting as a parallel to this particular property where you had a family, the Smocks, that were there were the Folger families and a couple other families in between, but they gave this property to what was then the Hudson City Hospital after World War I for soldiers and sailors, and very much in concert with what Sarah has been doing her whole life. Sindisa, and of course, can you chat a little bit about Hudson Paws Rescue?
Right. So then when I settled out here, I kind of missed having the day-to-day contact with animal welfare projects. So I started up this great dog rescue in Hudson called Hudson Paws Dog Rescue. And now we're in our third year. It's going great. We've adopted out over 250 dogs now, and it's right here in town. So yeah, that's kind of my that's what I do pretty much full time here now, while I run the foundation.
But another thing that's kind of a connector to the overall property, the main house, which is where the soldiers were, as well as what became a nursing school, named for Edith Cavell, which so Edith was a nurse from England, and she was over helping the French, the British, and the Belgian officers hide from the Germans, and unfortunately she had a terrible ending, but did wonderful works. And it's just interesting to see how Sarah has been nursing all these animals and nursing this property. And sorry, I always get like this, but it's been wonderful to see. And also, I think it's important to say that when you find your place, it makes such a difference, right? Especially for people that I know we've talked about this, for the people that are experiencing what you went through. This is good for people to talk about, and like, what's the other side of it, right?
Yeah. What can happen afterwards? It's like a kind of a silver lining. I was lucky that my daughter was here, and she kind of prompted me to make a change. But I really encourage people who have been through, trauma to be open-minded to making a change in your environment, because I think it really helps heal, wounds that might not heal as, easily, in the same environment where they happened. So that really helped me a lot. Kind of, getting physically into a new space really helped me a lot.
And also this house needed love and nurturing
Yeah, it was a really
and
great
care and right?
project. Well, oh yeah, I mean, it's got such beautiful bones and great history, and it had been sort of fallen into disrepair for a while, so it was really, really nice to nurture the house back to life
Right,
too, right?
right. Well, it's symbiotic,
While
right?
I nurtured
Right.
myself back to life.
Right, and I think that's why this is such a great thing to share with people
Yeah.
because it's sort of the full circle or of how
Yeah.
life can be and what you can look forward to and especially for
Yeah.
people like us that are
Mm-hmm.
in our I'm not going to say it's our last hurrah but we're making it our best hurrah and doing the most we can with our lives and sharing that with people
Yeah.
and with that it's sort of what are you looking forward to now, Sarah?
Oh gosh. Well, continuing my work with the dog rescue and also my foundation, Nature Defense Foundation, we actually do grant making to a lot of other animal welfare groups and environmental protection groups. So I'm just continuing that work, and then I also got a place down in Brooklyn, which I really am loving visiting and sort of exploring New York City, and so that's a new thing. That's like my new chapter is exploring New York City a little more.
And another historic property.
Yeah, the house is like an old 1860 brownstone.
So
So
maybe she'll let us visit.
yeah, it's
She won't
really
be sick
good.
of us by then.
Yeah, it's great.
But so anyway, what I'm going to do at the end of all of this, I mean, thanks Sarah so much for
Yeah, you're
having us
welcome.
and
It's my
sharing,
pleasure.
sharing your life with us in addition to your beautiful property. I'm going to have all the information for Sindisa and Hudson Paws and Nature Defense Foundation at the bottom in the description. So if people want to help support Sarah's good works.
Thank
And
you. Thanks so much.
thank you so much for coming here, and thank you all for joining us on the tour. I hope you continue to join in and subscribe.
Yeah.
I haven't got a little hook for you for the next property yet. I'm working on it, but I hope you'll all join us, and I hope to see you soon. And thanks, Sarah, so much.
It's my pleasure. It's been wonderful.